And hello, all my fellow nerds out there. This is Oracle Nerd Richie, and welcome to a game called A Cottage Story. So this is a short little visual novel game that I found while I was going through Itch. So to be a bit of a confession, I tried to record an episode of Life is Strange 2, but OBS's encoding can't handle it. Apparently, it can't handle anything about the game, and no matter what I tried, it couldn't handle it. So I'm kind of back. I'm kind of back to just square one, I suppose. So I decided to just record something else instead. So I wanted to record this, a cottage story. It apparently Flowers for Joy gave it a pretty good review on Itch, and if it's that good, then I might as well see what it's about. So let's go ahead and start. Choose your form. Oh, wait, is it? Oh, okay. Oh, I see. They look at each other and hover over them. Okay. I am a guy, last I checked. And type a name and hit enter. Emery. Okay, so Emery is a canon name. I'm just gonna go with Richie, because that's who I am. Pronouns: masculine, feminine, neutral. He, him. This can be changed later. Yes. This is an extended demo of a cottage story, which now includes the beginning of Act 2. Would you like to skip to Act 2? Nope. Act 1. I never should have taken the forest as a detour. First my date, then my car. What else could go wrong today? What? Where'd that ledge come from? The forest is so dense I can't see anything. Ah, ow, my arm. This is bad. I can't get up. With some effort, the man opens his eyes and tries to crawl. He grabs his right arm and his fingers come up wet. When his vision adjusts, he sees red. Fuck. Huh? Has that always been there? There's a cottage just across from the man. It's surrounded by flowers and flora, like something out of a dream. Smokestacks billow from the chimneys, so it's so well attended to, it's uncanny. It, it reminded the man of his grandmother's house if his grandma decided to live 10 miles into uncharted woods. The man rises to his feet by using a boulder to leverage himself, but there's a noticeable limp in his gait. Looking around, he walks closer with his good arm waving in front of him. To make sure that this isn't a fatigue-induced delusion, a pleasant aroma like a meadow of flowers emanates from the cottage. It beckons the man. He can't read anything on the sign. There are symbols he's never seen before, and he hopes that he isn't trespassing. How is it possible that this is here? It's too good to be true, but it's not like he has any other options. Investigate the cottage, knock on the door, try the handle. Knock on the door. The man approaches the door and gives it a few weak knocks. Oh, Jesus. That actually came from right inside my ear. My god. Footsteps pitter-patter from the other side, and suddenly the door opens. Oh, it's me. Okay, so it's supposed to be me, I guess. Hello, how can I help you? The man is surprised. A real person came to the door. His face is hard to read in a way that the man can't describe. Is this your cottage? Can you help me, please? My arm. Richie scans him up and down, then after a moment he nods his head and gestures for him to enter. Upon entering, the man notices medicine cabinets lining the walls along the various jars and bottles filled with herbs. There's something bubbling in the stove, but the fire isn't on. On the counter is what appears to be a miniature table set with chairs. Perhaps the young man collected miniature furniture. The man sinks into the couch, taking taking caution not to stress his wounded arm. The fragile smell is even stronger now, and it helps to calm his nerves. He's beginning to regret his forest trek. He didn't have any supplies, and the deeper he went, it was as tough as he lost all sense of direction. The young man returns with a bucket and cloth to dress his wound. Thank you. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't been there. Is there a town nearby? My car broke down in the middle of the highway. No, we are alone. No, we're alone here. This forest is dangerous for you to traverse. I'd advise you come back the way you came. This was a half-truth. If the man continued east past the river brook, he would eventually encounter a small farm town, but not before trespassing goblin territory. The man looks down helplessly in his limped arm. I know that now. I'm not in any shape to turn back. Can I please stay here for a night? I can pay you. I don't need payment. Regardless, you're welcome to stay if you'd like. The man lets out a sigh of relief. It saves him the attempt of trying to survive out in the wilderness alone. I promise, I'll be out of your hair by morning. Richie loops the cloth around the man one final time and finishes dressing the wound. He stands up. Richie eyes the man, ushering him to follow. They enter the room off to the right of the cottage, and the low ceiling immediately feels claustrophobic. This is the bathroom. At first, the words don't register in the man's mind. His face crumbles in confusion. The toilet is merely a hole carved in a rectangular box. Connected by the wall, this is an outhouse. Is there a place to wash up? There's a bucket for soap and water. Richie points to said objects located in the corner of the room, and there's a drain denoting that the whole bathroom is the shower. Scratching the back of his head, the man doesn't say anything, out of courtesy. After all, this was a cottage in the middle of nowhere. Beggars can't be choosers. Before the man can ask any more questions, Richie has already exited the room. He turns into a narrow corner to the left wall. When the man catches up, he sees two beds side by side each other. One furthest from the door appears queen-sized, while the other is twin-sized. This is the bedroom. You can stay in here in the meantime. Richie gestures the twin-sized bed. This is where I sleep. Since this is the only bedroom, I hope that privacy isn't a problem. No, it should be fine. I have nothing to hide. You must be tired. Please, rest up well. I'll make some tea while you settle in. Do you like Earl Grey? Ooh, honestly, Earl Grey tea is one of my favorites. It's pretty good. I think I've had it. Well, it was either Earl Grey or just jasmine tea. I don't think I've ever had jasmine tea. I think Earl Grey is probably the one that I liked the most as a kid. I don't know. It's been a while. I might have some tea later. Yeah, that'll be nice. The man sits on the edge of the bed. He couldn't believe his luck finding such a kind-hearted person. He can hear Richie making tea from the other room. It smells nice, and the man is tempted not to walk over to check on the tea right then and there. Not long after, Richie returns and sets the tea set down by the table next to him. It didn't occur to him until now, but why is someone so young living all alone in a dangerous forest? He studies his face. It's quaint, just like the cottage. His eyes are large and face amazingly symmetrical. It occurs to him that this person is really attractive. Suddenly, Richie places a hand on the man's forehead. You feel a bit hot. Maybe you should lie down. The man feels his face heat up and recoils from Richie's hand. Yeah, I'm hot. I mean, you're hot. Shit. I think I need to rest. I must have hit my head on the fall. That's not what I meant, but if you feel a fever coming on, let me know right away. For now, we'll give you some privacy. Okay, that was pretty funny. Richie leaves the bedroom. Once alone, the man briefly closes his eyes and lets out a sigh. The hell am I doing? He reaches for a teacup and sips on the Earl Grey. It calms his mind and tastes exactly as Earl Grey should. The man isn't sure if it tastes good because it is good, or if his terrible circumstances made it tastier by comparison. After drinking is filled, the man shuffles into his bed and drifts off to sleep. When the man wakes up, the bed beside him is empty. He rolls off immediately. Every muscle in his body betrays him. Ouch! Ouch! Damn it! This is what I get for falling off a ledge. There's a pleasant smell coming from the kitchen. The man walks towards Richie, looming over his short but stocky frame. See, he's pan frying mushrooms and scrambled eggs over the stove. Ooh, that sounds good. Like I haven't eaten eggs in a long while, but I know scrambled were my favorite when I was younger. He sees that. Okay, I read that already. Two plates already have biscuits and jam on them. I like biscuits, but no jam. I prefer butter. It smells so good. Can I bring these plates over? Richie swats his hand away like a mother would an eager child. No, sit down. Don't worry about it. Okay. Awkwardly, the man goes to sit down on the couch in the living room. The coffee table already has glasses of water, so he idly drinks. Richie joins him in the rocking chair across from him, and sets down the plates. The two sit in silence until the man finishes the last of his biscuit. How are you feeling? Everything's sore, but I'm not dying. I think I'll be okay. But I've been wondering for a while now. When I open my phone, the GPS doesn't work. It's really weird. How am I supposed to find my way back like this? Phone? How would that help you back? For the first time, the man notices an unusual rotary phone sitting on the coffee table behind Richie, and he considers that he may have actually been transported back in time. Oh, trust me, like, who still uses landline phones anymore? Like I know many people do. There are probably quite a few people out there that still do use landline phones, which is very impressive, honestly. Huh. Never mind. I'm still really sore, but it is okay if I is it okay if I stay here a little longer? Actually, Richie frowns, his face contemplative, which causes the man to fidget nervously. Did he overstay his welcome? It's fine, but let me check on your injuries. Richie moves to sit beside the man. He carefully grabs his arm to check the cloth that was tied the day before, and begins to replace it. A bucket of clean towels had replaced the bloody ones from the night before. Richie is already grabbing for a fresh cloth that he had prepared. By the way, I don't think I ever got your name. My name is Richie. Richie Nalon. I'm an apothecary. Ooh, so another apothecary character. Haven't seen an apothecary since Astra's Garden, I want to say. I think it was Astra's Garden? Yeah, it was that one. Man, an apothecary. You don't see those anymore. I'm Michael. It's nice to meet you. Likewise, if you continue north of this cottage, it should be the way out of Rossenward. Any other direction leads deeper into the forest, and I fear that's unsafe for you. That's really cryptic. What's out there? Just foxes, bears. Generally, they stay away from humans, but one can never be too careful. Oh, of course. That makes sense. Do you live alone in this cottage? Must be pretty tough. Must be tough for one person. It's not bad. This is home. As the conversation continues, Michael finds himself getting lost in Richie's earnest amber eyes. It hurts him to imagine that he's living all alone in such a dangerous place. He brushes his wounded arm against Richie's. If I'm ever in a pinch, do you think I could see you again? Next time I'll be more prepared, and I could even show you what it's like at the outside of this place. You're free to visit me again if you're hurt, but I'm well acquainted with Rossenward Forest? No, I mean outside of this forest. I think there's a whole world that you're missing out there. Well, now Michael is holding Richie's hand with his good hand. There's a peculiar gleam in his eye. It's a shame that such a beauty such as yourself is holed up in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of you? I can't leave. I mean, I shouldn't. Nervously, Richie attempts to pull away from Michael, but the reddening of his face tells Michael a different story. The man pulls forward with his lips puckered. Richie can feel his words recede in his stomach. Why is it so hard to speak all of a sudden? Michael rests his hand on Richie's shoulder and pulls it in closer. His heart hammers dreadfully against the ribcage. Just before Michael and Richie's lips meet, the front door swings open. Richie, I got the dried hemlock that you needed. Eh? your filthy hands off him! Both Richie and Michael freeze at the sight of the goblin. The creature brandishes a machete, gold red with use, and throws it at Michael's head. Michael manages to just barely dodge the machete as it crashes into a lamp, but not before the goblin pulls out the dagger and pins to a wall nearby by his shirt. The goblin is just shy of 4 feet, but it doesn't stop him from cowering in fear. Is this a robbery? The hell are you doing in here, punk? I got lost, and so I needed somewhere to stay. Bullshit. I saw you were getting handsy back there. If you got a eulogy, hand it over. Richie quickly intervenes by sandwiching himself between the two. Kafka, stop! He's telling the truth. You're scaring him. The apothecary moves a dagger pinned to Michael's shirt, and the man's fight-or-flight instinct finally kicks in. He bolts from the scene through the door that Kafka kicked open. Hey, come back here! I'm not done with you yet! Kafka and Richie briefly chase after Michael, but he's already disappeared into the horizon. Damn, how did he run so fast? Are you okay? I swear, if that human hurt you, I'll rip his spine from his... No, I'm okay, Kafka. He was a guest. If anything, Richie had hoped that the event didn't permanently traumatize Michael. Some of his belongings were still in the living room. He looked real suspicious, though, and you looked scared. I was just surprised because he suddenly... Richie gets embarrassed thinking about the moment, and he can't bring himself to say it out loud. He was flirting with me. Oh. What a coward. If he really liked you, he would have stayed and defended you. Kafka, you had knives! Yeah, I would have kicked his ass. My statement still stands, though. Richie walks back into his cottage and makes a beeline for the broken lamp, overturned table. Kafka follows shortly after, shutting the door behind her. Oh, you're a girl? Oh. I honestly couldn't tell for some reason. Oh well. He was the first human to stumble in here in years. I can't believe that happened. You can't believe he fell in love with you? It reminds me of the Florence Nightingale effect, but reversed. Kafka helps him move the table back into place and grabs for a dustpan and broom. Do you expect me to know what that is? And sorry about the lamp. I wasn't using it anyway. Florence Nightingale was a human who looked after soldiers during the wars in England. It was said that she cared so deeply about her patients that she started falling in love with them. None of it is true, though. It only looked that way because of how closely she worked with them. It's stupid. It must be a pain to deal with that all the time. Only once in a while. Have you ever actually fallen in love with any of your patients? Of course not. That'd be awkward. Once the lamp shards have been cleaned up, the living room finally starts to regain some of the former glory. Not like someone just started a knife fight in here. This is par for the course. When it comes to Kafka, Richie has known her ever since they were young. Although more level-headed and than most goblins, Kafka has always stuck her neck out for Richie, and he would do the same, but Kafka had the tendency of jumping to conclusions at the sight of any injustice or peril. She's the next closest person to Richie's life after his godmother, Catriona, passed away. Kafka moves a little stool over so that she can reach the counter and pulls out a dried hemlock from earlier. Where's that mortar? This hemlock's gonna crush itself. It's right in front of you, next to the fairy beds. Kafka briefly searches the counter before spotting the mortar next to all the miniature furniture. There's too many lights in your den. It makes everything hard to see. Well, this isn't a goblin hole. Richie makes a mental note of himself to dim the lights for Kafka whenever she's over. The cottage has always been like a second home to Kafka, despite the two having a tendency to butt heads. Richie sighs. What a day. Rossenward Forest, hidden away from the eyes of humans in modern society, lives in an integrated community of creatures only uttered in folklore and fairy tale. Only a handful of people know of their strange existence, much less interact with them. But once upon a time, a human named Catriona Nayland took residence in Rossenward. She built a small cottage by hand where she resided for the rest of her days. Her cottage was as much a part of the magical entity making up Rossenward as the creatures. She would be frequently visited by them. At first, they toyed with her, stealing firewood and flowers from her garden, but they soon found that the woman had other talents. Catriona was a gifted apothecary who worked with fauna and flora, a possible explanation for departure from the human world. She helped those around her with discrimination and earned the respect of even these mysterious creatures. One day, she found a baby floating along the river brook, battered but miraculously alive. When she rescued the baby, it spoke to her perfectly with a common tongue, enunciating its words like an adult would, but with the squealing voice of an infant. Impressed, she took the baby and raised them as their own. Days turned to years, and the child became apprenticed to Catriona. They learned and mimicked everything that she taught them. Even after Catriona's passing, the cottage remains maintained by her one and only apprentice. His name is Richie. Oh, so it's kind of like Sorcerer's Apprentice a little bit. Foxglove should quell your heart palpitations and other heart-related problems. However, the valerian roots are purely supplemental. If you steep them in hot water, it makes for soothing tea. I recommend you avoid alcohol. It will only worsen your heart problems. A gnome? Thank you, Richie. I damn near thought I died this morning, but this puts me at ease. The elderly gnome slurs his words as he's missing about half his teeth, but the sentiment holds. He hands Richie a sack that they prepared in exchange. Richie peeks inside out of curiosity. These mushrooms look delicious. I'm sure they'll go great with stew. Aye, my pleasure. They're the biggest I could get my hands on. Another happy client marks the end of the morning. Most of the creatures living in Rossenward operated early in the day, which were the apothecary's busiest hours. Now that Richie has some downtime, he begins cleaning up around the house. He picks up a large laundry rack and walks it through the back door. The night before, he started pouring all of a sudden and drenched up all of Richie's fresh laundry. Now it's sunny as a summer day without a single cloud in the sky. That's spring for you. After returning to the living room, Richie dusts all the cabinets and tables with a feather duster, and cleans all the dirty dishes left from breakfast, and then reorganizes the medicine cabinet. This was routine. Even when Catriona was alive, this was only a few of Richie's duties, but he never once found it tiring. In fact, Richie felt lost without the set schedule. As he checks each labeled jar, and he notices that he's low on feverfew. One of the regulars always comes in for feverfew once they suffer from chronic migraines, so it's not an option for him to be low on this medication. Richie would have to go on a quick foraging trip. Fortunately, feverfew are perennial, meaning that they grow year-round. Richie finds it hard to imagine what chronic migraines might feel like without reprieve. The regulars describe it as a jackhammering to the head for hours on end. One time, Richie accidentally hammered his thumb trying to build a cabinet, and the pain was already unbearable. Yikes. He should be glad growing up he was always reminded of his good health, and only treatment he would see was for small injuries and bruises. Feverfew grows just east of the cottage. The trees are scattered more sparsely, so the meadows see more sun. Wildflowers grow in every nook and cranny, but Richie realizes he's not alone. A familiar mushroom-topped goblin is bent over a small patch that's been picked clean. Lavka. Hey, what's up, Richie? What are you doing here? I noticed that you were low on feverfew, so I thought I'd pick some up for you. Picked is putting it lightly. Looks like Klavka unearthed the entire ground, exposing the naked dirt. How did she do that with her bare hands? Klavka herself looks as though she transformed into a plant holder. Her coat is filled to the brim with flowers, and all the stems and leaves are poking out. That's thoughtful of you to do this for me. Kaka, I think these are camomiles. What do you mean? Camomiles look similar to feverfew. If you look at the stem, they're too thin. It's all bent and bruised. Usually feverfew is tougher than this. Shit. We can put these back, right? That's not how plants work. It's okay. I won't let them go to waste. With this much chamomile, I should be stocked for months. Then let me help you prepare it. Don't even think about trying to do all the work. I know how you are. I remember when Catriona taught us how to tell them apart. She always say, if it's firm and tough, it's feverfew, but cut short and cute, it's chamomile. Yeah, and then she let us eat some of the chamomile when we found it. I always saw her having it with her salad, but it doesn't taste very good. It's much better as tea. I wish I paid more attention back when I was just in it for the free food, but never thought that she would pass so suddenly. Me too. I really miss her. I miss her too. I'm glad you always help me out, Klapka. It's less lonely this way. Yeah? Then I guess I'll keep at it. The two searched different parts of the meadow. Klapka had insisted that she needed to be able to find the feverfew without Richie's help, so she left him on his own devices. It doesn't take long for Richie to find the real feverfew growing in a hedge with the little white flowers in bundles. As he bends down to grab the plant's base, he hears a hiss. A snake! Why is there a snake here? Shoo, go away! Richie steps back, but the snake slithers closer to him. He grabs a nearby stick and attempts to wrench the snake away from the flowers, but it's like it's trying to drink soup with a fork. The snake keeps getting closer with each failed attempt out of desperation. Richie knocks over the snake into the air with a stick. Richie, I think I found some. The snake is headed straight for Klapka. Oh, watch out! Without flinching, Klapka grabs a writhing noodle mid-air. It hisses and nips at Klapka's, but she hisses back until the snake falls silent. She tosses the creature aside. I don't think it'll be bothering us anymore. Thank goodness you're here. Looks like it was guarding that patch over there. If you come across any of your pests, just point me in their direction. I guess we work better as a team. You're like a personal bodyguard. Klapka flips out her knife, but it does a cool knife trick. She puts on an extra tough menacing face. If anyone even looks in your direction, I'll cripple them. Is that how it goes? That's perfect. Richie offers Klapka his basket, and they put together their combined findings. Maybe while we're out here, I could teach you how to kill snakes and rats. I think I'll have to pass. You sure? It's not as hard as it looks. Most pests are weaklings. So, wow, I just realized I didn't have the window on full. My bad. Yeah, that's just recording bloopers for ya. You sure? It's not hard. Oh yeah, rather. Killing makes me uncomfortable. I don't have claws either, so it'd probably be harder for me. That's true. Teaching you how to wield a dagger might be easier. You're already pretty good at cutting stuff up. You mean cooking? Yeah, like when you're cutting cucumbers really fast and it looks like you're gonna cut your hand off, but you don't. That's how you want to use a knife in a fight. Richie thought about it for a moment. He supposes he could benefit from some self-defense. After all, it'd be bad to keep relying on Klapka. I might take you up on that. The two are bent over collecting a few more feverfew. Once they finish plucking the patch, they strain and stretch under their cool morning light. This should be enough. It's awfully nice out today. Then we should take a walk. It's bad to keep yourself holed up in the house all day. What if a client comes by while I'm out? They can come back later. You should think about yourself first sometimes. There's a path that's been worn into the ground from the meadow to the forest. It's likely that Catriona herself had developed it over the years of walking the same routes over and over again in Rossenward. After all, the humans would leave such an obvious mark of civilization. These look good, don't they? we could get some for the festival coming up. Kleka points to a sprawling walnut tree among the plethora of elms and ash. Richie nods his head. The residents of Rossenward love to find any reason to celebrate, drink, be merry, and the spring festival is no different. It's similar to a community potluck. Kleka scales the enormous tree before her and picks the nuts off the tree, one by one. She drops them as Richie swerves his body to try and catch the falling nuts into his basket. When the basket is filled evenly with both the feverfew and nuts, Kleka leaps back down, laying on all fours. They take the circular route around the forest back to Richie's cottage. On their way back, the two come across an open clearing marked by golden rays of light. There's a distant flute playing, which is the signature instrument of the satyrs. As they approach, they can see the silhouettes of several creatures. One satyr is playing the pan flute, while the other is dancing. While the animals slowly join in the procession, with the deer curiously inching closer to the satyr playing the flute. Squirrels descend from the trees, and frogs croak in tune with the flute playing. The dancing satyr recognizes Richie and smiles. Richie gets closer and chooses to. Finally, we actually have a choice. Jesus. I feel like it's been like 15 minutes since the last choice. But you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here for now. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like, comment what you think. Let me know if you want to see more in the comments. Be sure to share this with your friends, and also click the subscribe. I can't talk today. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single notification. I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.
You say you wanna try, but you never